Hey, yes, it looks like the chat is going crazy.
Oh, fire enough. Yep. Okay. I can see it. All right.
I'm gonna chat in there. I'm a chat fan, so I just wrote hey. Troy, I copied and pasted a couple of the questions that were coming in from our previous session that we can talk about. I'd like for us to share a little bit more in depth about some of those features that are corporate specific
Okay.
that we talked about there right at the end. And then obviously I'm going to keep my eye on the Q&As and on the feed. Please don't hesitate if you want us to talk about something. Maybe we can't do it right away, but please use the chat feature. We really do want to hear from you directly. Hey, Brett.
Hey, guys.
Hey, everyone. This is Brett, VP of Marketing at Scialytics. He's going to help us with managing the questions in the chat and just keep everything moving. So thanks for joining us today, Brett. We really appreciate it.
It's my great pleasure. This has been such a fantastic event.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Troy, where do you want to start?
Man, I think first of all, I want to say that this has exceeded my expectations of the user conference. I love this. I love seeing all kind of the customers interact with each other and talk, and some of the questions being answered by sales and by support. And it is a lot to manage on the screens, and we had some technical problems there, but
yeah, that's normal. That's all right.
Love it. I hope that we get to do this live soon with customers. That's going to be.
Yeah, I'm even better in person. You think this has been good?
He is.
So something happened. I want to tell a quick story. And I think, I don't know if Melissa, I can't remember. I think Melissa would jump into the corporate. So if she's still here, Melissa from Alpha Insurance, she had a question when we were talking about the credit hours. She was like, hey, I want to know how to use that. Well, I went in between while Michael was talking, and I turned the feature on in their organization. She ended up calling our support line and talking to Jill. And Jill walked her through how to set up credit hours, all while Synapse 2021 was happening. She heard something. She wrote it in chat. She made a phone call. We adjusted the settings. Boom. Taught her how to use a brand new feature, something that she didn't even know existed.
That's great.
I love technology.
I can't believe that you managed all of that during this.
It was great. I mean, we had moments where I really wasn't talking too much. So,
well,
all right.
Hey, why don't we go through some of those questions? I can talk a little bit about the credits. So credits is something that I think it started with a customer who, AFCO needed to be able to track credit hours, right? And what's funny is we're a continuing education platform. People use us all over the world for continuing education, and really they just needed a number to show up. And so we've assigned credit hours to the courses, and so now you can track those. You can report on those. People within their transcript, they can see the credit hours being recorded. And Marissa, I see you.
Yeah, that was for them.
Yeah. So, that was added, and I think it's worked out really, really well. And we're seeing people start to do it. And you mentioned something. We turn on the features. So if there is something that you need that you think, hey, the platform might do this, it might not. A lot of the feature sets, are enabled in different plan types, or they've been migrated into organizations as they've right. grown, right? So I encourage everybody here to call in, to support, to your sales representative, and talk to them about the things. So even if we don't have a feature that we can turn on and configure or write something for you, it will hit our what we use internally is Jira, and we track all of these things. And we want to know what you need to be successful, because when we started this, Jay, something that Russ and I always said is, listen, we're not successful if the customer's not successful, right? We've built our entire, livelihood on making sure that our customers are able to deliver their training. Right. And if they're not, hey, then we're not being successful either. So give us those things that you need. Those hit our roadmap. Those hit discussions, and we truly know, in support, you guys know these people, right? And we use your names internally to say, hey, they really need this feature. How can we make sure that it integrates across a platform for multiple use cases and is done the right way? So please call in.
We just got a question in from Amy from Travel Outlook. Now, here's a little context about this. Amy is still going through with Catherine in the sales process right now. So she's looking at DigitalChalk as a potential use case for their training platform. Okay. And we were talking yesterday about if I already took a course, their content is SCORM. If I already took it, and then 6 months from now, they upload a new SCORM element, but I'm completed for that course, will there ever be a way for me as a completed user revisiting my course to see the new version that has been uploaded inside the system? I'm guessing that's a content library thing, Troy?
It is, but you can, if the revisit settings are set on a course right now where somebody can revisit the course.
Hold on. The user has to access the element when the course is live for them to see the revisit options later.
Okay, so you're saying
there is a limitation there. If you add a new element into the course after the user has completed it, they won't see the revisit options because there's that prerequisite of they had to have gone through this element when it was live.
Okay, so I understand your question now. Yes, you're correct. So what we just talked about with content library is going to be that's a game changer, right? SCORM has has a little bit of interesting, nuances when it comes to the different platforms delivering SCORM or the different authoring tools. So there's something called bookmarking that, students can, they'll bookmark where they are so they can complete where they finished. They can start back where they last finished. So, assuming that they're using the same authoring tool, if they upload a new version of SCORM, that is going to be in the content library. That will be pushed out automatically, replacing the SCORM content that's already there. And I know that Gabe Wilson from Samaritan's Purse, we've talked about this as well. They've got hundreds and hundreds of SCORM courses out there. And Jay, I think you've been on the call with me on some of those. It's like they need to be able to replace those in place. That is coming with the content library.
Great. And she's specifically asking for a time frame. I don't know if we have a time frame on content library.
We don't have a time frame specifically on content library. I will say brands and teams is coming first. Content library is right on the heels. I did see some of the developers and stuff in the user conference, and they know those of you that are working on content library now. I mean, it is way down the road in development. There's a lot being done there. There's a lot being done kind of even on the elements that are part of the content library. So excited about that, but we don't have a specific date on that. It will be sometime after the first quarter, though.
Okay, I want to just reference something really quick. One of our clients from Bayshore, Smail, just wrote in about sending a notification on the course validity period. And I wanted to say, if you would reach out to support, I have a couple follow-up questions that are really specific for you on what that looks like. So I just want to reference, could you possibly reach out to support? You could talk to myself or Jill or Adrian or Ryan. I think any of us will be able to answer that question. But there's just some, based on the phrasing of the question, there's some really important follow-up questions that I want to ask there. So Smail, if you could reach out, you reach out to us all the time. You know how we'll take care of you. And then we had another question come in. Brett, am I stealing your job?
You are, but that's okay. And I have something exciting to announce later on. So
you got some big leaks coming out too, Brett?
Let's stick to the questions and then we'll move in. We have some very big news that is a testament to a lot of the things that have been said throughout the day.
Oh, so exciting! All right,
it is. I'll save that as an Easter egg. But yes, Jay, please. We have another question that's in the Q&A and in the feed from Myra. Mm-hmm. And I was wondering, maybe you want to read that and address that?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll read it, and then Troy, you can chat about it as well. Can you please let me know if we can create test questions that are more than just multiple choice true false? They want fill in the blank questions, and I believe that is, as far as I know, that is pretty much confirmed for some of the new test updates. I don't know all of the things that are releasing when the new tests come out, but I know that that's something that we've discussed.
It is. It is. So not only are we enhancing the UI UX of tests, it's going to be responsive. The imagery is going to be, easily uploaded. We're going to make sure that all the questions can be seen in a uniform format with those. But underlying tests is the entire new architecture for reporting, for making the particular test questions that we want to present, right? So we're changing the way everything is done for tests in terms of the architecture underneath. That's going to allow us to do things like matrix types questions, fill in the blank questions where we can, auto check to make sure that certain questions are answered in a certain way. So fill in the blank is one of them. So short answer is what we're calling that on the back end. We have long form answer, not just in the assignment feature, but that should be coming to tests as well. Of course, traditional true false, multiple choice. We'll be able to do Likert scale type questions as well. So the same thing that you're seeing within
the surveys,
or we'll be bringing those into tests as well, so you can grade upon the Likert scale as well. So I hope that answers your question.
I'm going to put my customer hat on.
Okay.
Let's say that I'm a customer who's been using tests for a long time. Am I going to be able to go into my existing tests? Are they going to be migrated over to the new tests, and then I could make those tests even better already?
Oh, you're putting me on the spot there, Jay.
Should I not have asked that? Let's pretend like I didn't ask that.
So no. I'm glad you did. So, and I think if you heard my question at the beginning about 2020, about how many test questions have been delivered in just 2020 and answered. So you got over 13 million of those. As you can imagine, migrating and making sure that all the reporting flows and everything underneath the covers, and we're talking hundreds of millions of test questions, right? So migrating that stuff, the engineering effort for that we're working on it. My guess is right now is that we will make it easy to copy into a new test. I'm not sure if we're going to convert the existing test quite yet to the new platform. There might be just too many features that are hard to map, and we want to make that as clean as possible.
All right, great. I have another tricky one for you that Catherine has put in the chat. Catherine. I wanted to say one more thing to Myra's question. She talks about choosing all the following options that apply, and I'm pretty sure we can actually do that one right now, because you can select multiple correct answers inside of the test question. So Myra, if you need any help with that, reach out to the support team and we can show you. Right, basically, when you're building your test questions, you can select multiple questions or multiple responses on a multiple choice that are correct. And you can also do partial credit. So if the person gets 2 out of 3, they could earn a partial credit for that question as well. So I just wanted to, before we put a bow on that question, I wanted to make sure that we answer all of her question.
Perfect. And then we'll retain that feature as well. So we will have multiple choice, multiple select, it was just the multiple answer, yes.
All right, Jay, as you had said, we have a question from Catherine Como. We also have another question that I want to make sure we get to. But Catherine's question was, will reporting show the number of questions that were answered wrong?
This is something that we get often, Troy.
Yes.
Right now, we export into our reporting the completion percentages. If you pull something from Gradebook, you see the score or the course final score. A lot of people are looking for a report of, here's my 20 questions on my test. I need to know what every user got right or wrong by question by question.
Right. Yeah. So when I talked about the entire architecture shifting underneath the test, that's one of the major reasons why. So what we want to do is give you the ability to look at a test even across offerings. So you can actually report on, the questions that were right, the questions that were wrong, the most, the percentages breakdown of, A, B, C, and D. So, you have a question, there's 4 answers. What is the percentage of people that answered A versus B versus C versus D? And what that helps our customer with is they know whether that test question is effective or not. Right. So, none of us like to ask test questions just to trip people up. That's the point is for people to learn, right? And we can learn as well as, instructors. When we put a question out there for people, we want them to get the right answer. We want to make sure that they're doing the right thing. So, but maybe we didn't quite ask the question correctly. And so this is the feedback we're getting, right? I want to know whether I've asked the question correctly. Maybe I'm just tripping people up. Well, the way to do that is to be able to show you exactly what you got right, what you got wrong, and what the breakdown was. So that's a major element coming with the reporting of the new test feature.
Awesome. We've covered tests for just a little bit here.
A little bit, yeah.
It's something that, as a
used feature of the platform. So
yeah, as someone who talks to our clients every day, testing is an important, testing is an important part of online learning. It's one of the highest, most used features inside of DigitalChalk, probably right behind video and SCORM. So it's something that's very, very important to us.
All right. Next up, we have a question from Zoe Leroy. She's the development consultant there at 2020 Talent. And her question is, it would be useful to see metadata, particularly on elements that have been added to courses, mainly when they were uploaded and by whom. I feel it would be easier to keep a track of changes that need to happen. Here's the question. Or is this possible already?
Okay. That's a great question. And I think you said Zoe. Is that the name?
That is correct.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so Zoe, thank you. It's a great question. I love the thinking there, audit, capabilities on this stuff. I will answer and say, yes, we keep all of that stuff today. So we can tell you, when something was updated, when it was added, who updated it, who added it. All of those things are available today. And we do get people call in and say, hey, wait, what, who last edited that? We can tell you that. We have to, dig in to get that, and then we can give you that information. That is coming in the new release of your content library. So what will happen in the content library is you'll be able to see who the original author was. So let's say we're uploading a new SCORM file. You'll see who uploaded the original SCORM file, when they uploaded it, and then you'll go to another page that shows you all the versions of that SCORM file. So if you're on version 3 of a pushed out SCORM file, you'll be able to see who did version 1 and version 2, but also who replaced it and pushed it out to the individual learners with version 3. So you'll be able to see who and what and when.
And just to make sure I'm on the same page as you, Troy, that's content specific and with timestamps, right?
Correct.
Oftentimes, from a support perspective, and I'm not trying to throw you a curveball, but we'll get somebody that says, hey, our registration rule is different. And it's not like we had it set to be this course on this date or whatever. And we need to know somebody who adjusted that. Is there any way to see that as well in the database? But that's something that we would have to pull. It's not visible.
That's something that we have to pull. I mean, the rule system in particular, and Jay, it is a massive, complex set of algorithms,
right?
And timings, and hundreds of millions of events being fired throughout the platform. So this is a highly complex piece of the system. We do need to pull that information. We can tell it does take some digging. It's just like finding email, right? It's a needle in a haystack, sending hundreds of thousands of emails a month. We can tell if it was sent, but it's going to take us just a moment to pull it for you.
Zoe, I hope that was a good answer to your question. Please feel free to reach out to our support center if you're ever digging for that kind of information, and we can work hand in hand with the engineering team to try to get you the information that you need. And we'll help you all if this is something that happens and maybe there's a best practice that we could suggest or something that we can do to keep the need for having to look for something like that. We'll do our best to just help you find a solution to whatever that is. Mm-hmm. I think we're caught up on questions.
We are completely caught up on questions in the chat. Hang on, let me just confirm that. Yep, Zoe just responded. Thanks, guys. You're very welcome.
I have to say, Jay, the interviews were fun, and I have to give a shout out to the support team now, right? Because
everybody, like, I don't know why I get so bashful. Everybody says such great things about our team. It's not me. I didn't do it. Our team is great. I didn't do anything to make them so great. They're just so awesome.
I know. High five, man. High five. And I'm so glad that we're able to have so many people on here to high five you as well, because I think you're doing a great job. And this is so fun.
Yeah. There's like, we don't take that praise for granted when somebody says they appreciate our support team. That's not something that we're just like, oh yeah, we know. It really does make our day. Every time somebody has a positive comment, it makes the whole team's day better. So we thank you for your feedback. We always strive to do an even better job. We don't feel like we're great. We feel like we just try to do the best for the clients every day.
And Troy, it has definitely been a great day that I think has shown what a rich relationship we have with the clients, and the clients have with the solution as well. And to reinforce that, outside of the tremendous.
Uh-oh, did it happen again?
What's that? What's that?
I think Troy is having internet issues.
Is Troy having internet issues?
He's frozen and he can't hear us right now, so that's okay. He'll come back in a second.
Uh-oh. That was bad timing.
It's okay, because I have been preparing for this day for my entire life.
They hear me.
Oh, dang it.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Man,
yes.
That's twice.
Yes. The best part was, I think you said, uh-oh, things are freezing right before they froze, which was fantastic.
Troy, you're really raining on my parade. I was about to set sail and fly with this whole session on my own.
So I was saying, I think the Net Promoter Score, the Infotech Award that was won earlier in the year, all testament to really a wonderful foundation and the growth of the last few years. I'm very pleased to announce, and we'll be getting a lot more out on this. We were just literally within the last 10 minutes awarded 4 Brandon Hall Awards for technical excellence.
What? Are you serious?
Yeah, I'm totally serious.
You're announcing that live here at the User Forum?
That is exactly what I'm doing, and I'm saying congratulations. It's a huge testament to the phenomenal work done by many people. But I think as the CTO, when the award is for technical excellence, you have to give a huge shout out to some phenomenal work by you and your team. There's a lot more to it than just bits and bytes. There's a great deal there, but generally speaking, a phenomenal award, and I'm really happy to announce it in a very public forum. A lot more coming in the coming weeks. So
I can't believe I was here for this moment.
Well, you were preparing your whole life for it, Jay. So I'm glad.
That's amazing, and I hope the developers have chosen the corporate side of this so they can see some of this. Because let me tell you, man, that's really special.
Yeah, it really is.
I think about the developers that have been on this journey, and man, we have an amazing team of people that are behind the scenes. That's really cool. Thank you.
Cool. All right.
Well, I'm glad to have done that. Jay, I'm sorry. Back to work. You had some questions.
Yeah, I don't want to rain on your parade, Troy, but there's questions coming in here.
All right.
Specifically about brands.
Okay. Good.
People want to know, can an org have multiple URLs for their different and multiple brands? If so, are they able to create rules for specific users that log in from a specific URL?
That's a great question. So yes, organizations can have multiple URLs. Well, they will be able to have multiple URLs.
Not right now, but it's coming.
Yeah. So all of this it's in QA, and it's on our test servers right now. It's being blitzed with load of testing. But yes, you will be able to create multiple URLs that are associated with a particular theme. So let me give you an example. ABC company, so it's abc.digitalchalk.com, can have a great blue theme with an ABC logo on it, right? And then that same organization, without having to create a new organization in DigitalChalk, the same organization can go in, create a new brand. Once they do that, that new brand inherits the brand of ABC, and let's say you call that DEF. So DEF now can have a new logo and new color scheme. All the same content can be made available to the users underneath the covers, but those users will experience different things. So we have several customers, like you heard, that are delivering training to different organizations. Construction industry is a good one, right? So we have construction, and they're delivering training to heavy equipment manufacturers. Let's say John Deere, Caterpillar, the different big construction companies, right? They want it branded just for those particular customers of theirs. So the content that they're pushing out, while it's not necessarily specific to John Deere, they want it branded just like it is. And so that's what this is going to give you the capability to do. So with brands, and then the second part of that was rules firing, right? So brands and then teams. So teams is going to be an important piece of kind of the dynamic duo of delivering your content, right? So once teams is in place, you're going to be able to segment those users, change the catalog rules, change what content is made available to what teams, how that's reported on. All of those things change underneath the covers, and hopefully that's going to give you a great multi-branded experience for your different user groups.
Troy, right now we are, when I'm onboarding a corporate client, one of the first things we talk about is user fields, right? What metadata do we need for our users? So we need to know what department they're in. We need to know maybe sometimes what date they were hired, who's their supervisor, and we bring that in as user fields. And then we build up the registration strategy, right? I want to register all of the users that are listed in this department for this course on this date. Right. Is that going to be the same way with teams, where if I want to register all the users that are a part of this team for this course on this date, and it's kind of just an enhanced, maybe making user fields kind of obsolete in a sense that it's just a better version of that same strategy? Right.
So I think you're on the right track, Jay. Teams is not going to do everything in the world on the very first release, right? So it's not going to be a drop-in replacement for what you're necessarily doing with user fields.
So we'll still be using user fields as a part of it, because obviously user data is important. You need to be able to attach data to users, but teams will accentuate that and make it better.
Absolutely. And teams is really it's kind of moving into what we would call a first-class object placement, right? Right there with users, you're going to have teams. User fields are kind of decoration, I would say. They're decoration for a user that lets you filter users and find users. And then, you can run different rules based upon those user fields. Teams is really a true container, and it's going to contain those users. It allows you to report on them, keep them very, very isolated so that, the data doesn't leak, beyond that team. When you use user fields and teams, it's going to be powerful. I would tell you that you will be seeing teams being introduced into those rules. So the rules that you're talking about for like catalog rules, notification rules, things like that, you're going to start to see teams drop into those rules over time. So yes, you'll start to configure those things.
So that feature set will just grow over time.
Yeah.
We do have another quick question on brands, and I think you might have addressed it. Will there be any limits on how many URLs?
We're not going to do thousands of URLs for a particular organization. I'd like to elaborate on. I'd like for whoever asked that question, kind of elaborate just a little bit, because our thought was, when we're designing this, is the multi-portal strategy is enough to manage, tens of URLs for an organization. We don't have necessarily a limitation. You start to add complexity as you add more and more and more. So managing that type of infrastructure, even at the organization administrator level, becomes unwieldy. So I would encourage anybody, organizing things into customer sets to really think about how they're doing that. It's intended for tens of portals. I would steer clear of hundreds of portals.
Okay, Zoe, let us know if that answered your question appropriately, or if you have any further follow-up on that one. Just moving on down, Jay, I think you had caught this one. Quick question from Shamina over at Samaritan's Purse. Will the announcements and bulletin boards be unique to each brand?
That's good. For the first release, no. They will really branding for the first release is going to change the theming experience for the individual user coming in. So you would send the URL to the customer or the end user that was going to be getting that. Now, I can tell you again, more likely we're going to segment things by team than by brand. So brands, I kind of want to communicate that brands is really about the UI experience and kind of how it looks and feels and navigates the navigation of the site. Teams is going to answer a lot of your questions about segmenting of content, what shows, what doesn't show, and then permissions even further segments who can do what. But not right now. I will say that we do get questions about bulletins quite a bit, segmenting bulletins not only by user group or by user field or by language and all sorts of different ways to cut and slice. Look for teams to modify the bulletins.
Okay, great. We also had a message from Terry Tully. Mentioning that you are now officially smarter than your father. We also had a message from my mother saying that shirt doesn't look good on you. That's an aside.
I think it looks great on you, Brett.
So there's a story behind that. My dad is a brilliant mathematician, and one of his instructors at Clemson University when he was going through school was a peer with my instructor at NC State when I was taking reals numbers in graduate school, and his name was Dr. Coe. And I stopped Dr. Coe in the middle of the brickyard at NC State several times to ask questions, and he knew that my dad studied under one of the top minds in mathematics. And I was asking, I guess, maybe some dumb questions. And he just turned around and says, "Oh, Mr. Toll, I don't think you're as smart as your father." So that's been a running joke in the family. So I will never be as smart as my dad, but I appreciate it, Dad. Thanks.
Just to do a time check, we got about 7 minutes.
Oh, that's it?
Yep. And so if anybody has questions, we got our eyes on the chat. Troy, let's talk a little bit about some of those features we just were very quickly, until we get a chat message come in. Mm-hmm. Let's talk a little bit about discussions. That's one of our newest big features that is already released. Not a lot of people have implemented. I think more than I think, not a lot of people have reached out to support about them. Let's talk about what kind of use cases we have there, what kind of problems we're trying to solve. Obviously, from a support perspective, I love seeing people use the discussions as part of onboarding training. We have a lot of corporate customers who use DigitalChalk for new client onboarding, and it's a great way to catalog questions from new hires. Right? Mm-hmm. People come in, they're going through the onboarding course, and the users can go back and see the questions that people had been asking when they got hired, and see the administrators then replying or other users answering those questions. Can we talk a little bit about that while we wait for some?
Yeah, I think I mean, you almost, answered exactly what I would say in that, that historical perspective is huge. So we looked at the platform, and I alluded to this earlier. We send hundreds of thousands of emails every single month, to all the users in the system. And that's only transactional email. So that's things like receipts and password resets, reporting reminders, things like that. So this is just transactional email. You can only imagine the number of emails that are sent to instructors or organization admins about this question or that question on a particular course, right? It's great to have a historical perspective right there embedded within the course. So questions that come up in context of the course or the course element, the learners can ask a question there. It can be moderated and answered by the instructor right in line with the course. So, users who are taking that course can add on to that. They can see it right there in line with the content that they're asking the question about. So that's the really, one of the driving factors behind it was, hey, we need a place where people can interact more than just be fed information off of the screen. Where can they interact to make sure that they're getting the best learning experience? And you and I know that, learning happens kind of interactively as much as it does being fed to you, right? So
right.
I think the cool thing about this conference is, answering these questions right here live. It gets nerve-wracking at times, but it's nice. But, that it's the interactions of people answering the questions right there. Sometimes the instructor doesn't tell you exactly what the answer is, but, someone else in the course can. So
the use cases of DigitalChalk are so wide that we can't even anticipate every single question or every single use case that are going to be asked. And so the more we can hear, and if you take that and you put it to content that's being delivered on our platform, it just adds so much more when your users can then ask their specific questions. That even enhances the content that you're offering. On the e-commerce side, I've even seen people upcharge for their courses that have discussions inside of them because it adds more value to the content.
That's interesting. Yeah.
All right, guys. It's now 2:28, so this is probably going to be the last question. Folks, if you have any more questions, please do feel free at any time. Feel free to call us or email support@scialytics.com. And, for us, this has been a wonderful event. It's not a one-time event. We will have more of these and more frequently moving forward. This is the advancement of a dialogue that has already been well established, but we want to make that dialogue even richer with you. We feel like we're on a very exciting journey from a technology and a learning perspective, and we want to make sure that we're hearing you, listening to you, responding to you, and making sure it works for you all throughout that journey. So with that, Troy, quick question from Shamina again from Samaritan's Purse. Will we be able to use a translation bot in the discussion board?
Oh, okay. That's appropriate coming from Samaritan's Purse. They're all over the world, right? So it's not built into discussions, but let me tell you about a feature that, there's a lot of people that probably don't know about this. I'll get some echo feedback, guys, here. Hold on. We support natively embedded Google Tag Manager. And so while, it's not going to be translated inline from DigitalChalk, you can use Google Tag Manager to insert JavaScript into the page, and you can actually specify which pages you want it to run on, the firing elements of that JavaScript. And literally you can incorporate thousands of different products inside of DigitalChalk using the Google Tag Manager. So people who want to see the analytics on their page, they want to see, how AdWords are converting based upon purchases. Another use case for that is probably Translate. It's something we could look into, but I guarantee you there's a bot out there that you can add to the page through Google Tag Manager. It's just a JavaScript drop-in that will translate those things for you on the page. And I think, Google Translate can also run on pages as well. But in addition to all the languages our platform supports, I think we support over 11, 12 different languages now. That can also be run through Google Tag Manager as a solution. And Jay, take down a name, and maybe you and I can kind of brainstorm about that, and we can try some stuff out.
All right, I'm copying and pasting that into my notes document right now.
All right, and with that, it is 2:30, and I can honestly say the time has flown by.
Man, it went fast.
I mean, holy moly. Folks, thank you very much for coming. Thank you very much for your time. As I said earlier, the team here is always here for you. That's part of our core brand. Please never be afraid to reach out with any questions that'll help you be successful.
And I can say, listen, Brett, let me just say, 2006, starting the company, I can't tell you what this moment feels like to be able to talk to everybody across the world all at one time. Just the experience with everyone. I have to say thank you very much to the customers who have made this possible for me, for our family, for our team, for everybody here at Scialytics. What a journey you have allowed us to take, and that we get to take with you. We want to serve you for many, many years to come. We can't wait to do new features for you, to answer your questions, to add new things that launch your business and train your employees. I thank you so much from the bottom of my heart.
Looking forward to talking to you all. Please, if there's anything that you didn't get a chance to ask, just shoot us an email at support or give us a call, and we'll work with you on whatever you need.
Okay.